Welcome back to another edition of the Coin Shop Podcast. My name is Kenny Duncan Jr. alongside my brother Matthew Duncan. And our good buddy Josh, a.k.a. ApolloDez, Apollo Media, Apollo Houston, HOU, Let's Ride. Big follow on Twitter, and if you're not following them on Twitter, you should. That is at ApolloDez. And then also to their company, Josh and another Josh, Apollo Houston Media, or Apollo HOU Media.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, on Twitter, yeah. Apollo
On
HOU.
Twitter.
Thanks
yeah.
for having me on, boys.
Where else are you?
We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, IG, all under Apollo HOU. Follow the company. I just shit post on the internet. It's all about the boys and everyone else.
What about MySpace?
Yeah, I actually still am waiting for them to get back to me. I'm waiting for Tom to bring me up to his top friends.
MySpace.
Dude, I wish I could log into my old MySpace account. There's some gold in that.
Do you remember
deal.
your song that you had playing last?
That's right.
It was, I think it was Live, the band Live. Shittown?
Ooh.
Maybe?
Shit, yeah, that's cool. I was Ocean Avenue.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
had to play the hits.
That is definitely a hit. Mine, not so much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it. Like, today's generation wouldn't be able to last in the top 8.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was
was
war
tough.
right there.
Yeah, that was
war
tough back
top
then.
8.
How old are you?
Turned 30 in November.
Okay. Got an
So
old
back
soul
end.
for a young,
Yeah,
young
end.
guy.
I'd say so. Old soul.
Old soul for a young guy. So, crazy busy out there right now for us. Coin Shop Podcast. I mean,
Yes.
Coin Shop. Because
Coin
of
shop.
Yeah, Coin Shop. The Coin Shop Podcast shop is freaking busy as heck.
It's been busy.
And we have had, we've got some side projects going on, which is one of the reasons why Dez is here with us today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Coin Shop. We're going to talk about some of the things that we're dealing with in this market. Gold dropped under 1900 for the first time. With that, things get a little slow. And a lot of times you would see that go down into the retail sector and go out. But where we actually get a little pivot is from people needing liquidity. And then because we pay so fairly, people know about us. They know that they can use us as a liquidity. They can use us for liquidity almost any time. And that once you build those relationships with people, it's amazing to see how busy you stay even in down markets.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I feel like the business that we're in is perfect because in an up market, people have extra cash. They spend it on items in our store. If they need cash, they bring it to our store and get items for those. And it's not, guys, we're not a pawn shop. We are, if anything, we're probably 100 times better than a pawn shop because we actually give real liquidity.
Right. Yeah.
And growing in those spaces and growing in other avenues is important because you got to have cash flow. And it's the same in life. It's the same with the middle class, the lower class, the upper class. Everyone has to get liquidity.
Yeah.
Right? You have to get paid.
And quick. And the metals and coins and watches, they give you quick liquidity. It's like if you have, everyone owns properties but it's a longer transaction. It's not like
Sure.
I need to raise a quick $20K or $5K or $1,000. Where do I go? And I go to my metals because I know I can go sell it right there, get paid, and walk out the door and have my funds to do whatever I want with them.
Right.
And just being around you guys, I've been able to see all the foot traffic. And I think the best way to describe it just from the outside looking in was like walking into a cathedral, but also like a moment of time as well. Because you have just on the walls from Tyson to, I love the Otani jersey back there, but also going into all the documents and the money and the story behind it all. And that's where I get fascinated just as a consumer because one, you see it, but know that there's a story behind it of like how you guys were able to get into the store and the story behind that person approaching you guys and how you guys found stuff. And it's really cool to see you guys also fired up about it as well, because a lot of times I think perception and reality are different with a lot of things. But when you guys, being around you guys live it, breathe it, and are 100% in it every single day. And I think that's rare. I think it really, really is in anything, not just what you guys do.
It's cool. Yeah. I can speak for when a deal walks into the store, we buy everything. So when we buy bullion, we'll sit down, we'll do a bullion transaction pretty quickly. When we sit down and look in a state and it has random, might have bullion, coins, like you said, documents. So you have some Republic of Texas documents that there's probably a handful of to be able to sit down and be able to buy it and then be able to sell it in the store. It's like you're trading in a museum. It's nothing like it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the reasons why we get offered those products is because what we pay versus what market is.
Right.
And there's people and there's companies set up in the city who will give the same type of liquidity we give, but they won't give the same percentage to retail that we give. Right.
Right.
And I think that that's where, as coin shops, it's good to start understanding what that number is that you have to make. Like, so what's your daily overhead number, right? I mean, for me, it's the very first thing. When we started to identify what that daily overhead number was, it was very easy for us to set the roadmap according to what we wanted to make.
Right.
Right. And that's really where I feel like everything changed for us, I'd say 10 years ago, when we really started getting inside the numbers to see how the numbers work. And, it's very simple. Like, if I have 100 of these and I sell 100 and I make 20, plus 20 ounces. If I have 100 ounces of this and I'm net positive 20 after the sale or 10 after, so whatever the number is, there's something to grow off of, right?
Right.
But the main thing that people don't do is go back to look at what the true cost was. And not just cost of items sold or cost of goods, but it's actually like, what about the sweat equity? What about the time? What about the shipping? What about this? And getting all that into one factor, one number, and understanding what it takes to operate like that from, then you start to realize, okay, how fair can I be to the customer now? If I want to make X, then in order for me to make X, then I need everything I need to buy, I need to make X on, but you also have to bump that customer up to use you for more short-term liquidity. And I think a lot of people are in this business and maybe sometimes don't understand the long game, is that everything's short-term. And the banks make you kind of be that way because they're not really giving you a lot of money, and the money you're getting is 7 and 8%. It's hard to operate in a bullion world when you're paying 8% for your money.
For the money, yeah.
It's very complicated. Yeah. And you have to start asking yourself, what am I going to do? Because I don't want to lose face with my customers, because I just don't want to pay anybody too cheap.
Right.
That's for me.
Well, you have to do bullion. I mean,
But you have to do bullion.
Money, yeah.
So you've got to start figuring out with these premiums coming back down to basically nothing again.
Right.
So I feel like we've got some interesting times on our hands. But that's kind of a doom and gloom conversation I'm not really willing to have. We got our boy in the house today. So we're going to talk a little bit about Apollo Media, about Apollo HOU, and also too, just the whole dynamic. So we have a couple other projects going on. We've got one that we're pretty pumped up about and pretty invested in. It's called Celebrity Mint, and that will launch officially on October 14th. And I will have to admit, like, we are absolutely stoked. We are more than excited about the potential of what it means, not only for the company itself, but for the hobby. We feel very strongly that Celebrity Mint will bring more people to the hobby, and that I just think that that's final. And the people are not just going to come to us. They're going to come to shows. They're going to come and meet a lot of dealers, hopefully, that are listening to this podcast. And I'm hoping that those guys are ready. I'm hoping that those dealers are ready for this influx of people that are looking to maybe be the first or early in coin collecting. And obviously they can't be early, but I still feel like all of our coins, the entire market of coins, in my opinion, is severely undervalued versus what I'm seeing other things bring.
Right.
For instance, I saw, I think it was a Golden video where there was a Gem Mint 10 Mickey Mantle 52 tops.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I believe out of the handful that are graded that 10, that are graded PSA Gem Mint 10, from what I gathered from the video, I don't want to be fact checked here, but I believe that he was saying that he felt like this 10 was better than all the other 10s, and the estimate for that card was $35 million. Wow. So I go back to some of the most famous coins that were sold in our hobby, which the high relief. And, and again, this is all public. I'm talking about public. So in stacks, obviously, the high relief brought a really large number. I think 17 and change. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Lord Oswald $17.94 brought a 10 million and change. You have a freaking cardboard piece of cardboard that's straight for that someone actually could put a price on the internet at 35 million. What are we doing here?
Wow.
Yeah, what are we doing? I understand it's Mickey Mantle, it's New York, I get all that. It is a great card. 35 million? I think maybe we might be a little out of touch with reality. right? And then again, it goes to, is that 35 million auction estimate? Is that someone going to write a check? Because you understand the difference between liquidity and what someone thinks a value is sometimes could be a very, very, very big difference in what those two values are. So my knee-jerk reaction is that people will look at our hobby, look at rare coins, numismatics as in our hobby and say, maybe a silver dollar that's over 140 or 50 years old that only had a mintage of X and only X of them are known. That might be a cool coin to own if we were going to start somewhere, right? So I just want to make sure that we're putting out there that this isn't just so we can get a bunch of emails and start marketing to our clients. This is to bring a whole bunch of eyeballs to our hobby, and I hope we're going to do a good job.
Yeah, and I was going to say, one of the main things that we're doing in our store is getting ready for that, is getting with each morning we're having meetings with our sales guys. We're having meetings with our buyers, our inventory, getting everyone on page just to be ready to how can you help build that customer, the next Morgan dollar set or type set, or how can you help that customer get to that next level in coin collecting and in cards? Where do you go from just this celebrity mint and what we're doing? How do you really build that clientele? And that's I would be doing the same on the other side if I was listening to this. Tomorrow I'm gonna do a meeting with my guys and start making sure everyone's on the same page and ready, just to kind of help that influx of new customers.
Don't get me wrong. We don't want to get too on our high horse and think that, this is like going to be some magic pill that saves the industry. I'm not thinking that, but I am thinking that there could be some phone calls, to your local coin shops and saying, hey, what are these Ric Flair coins? Or what are these Jake Paul coins? Or what are these Mike Tyson coins? What's this celebrity mint company? And you're right. You hope, and it's no different maybe in the media game, and maybe you can tell me, but you hope that you're bringing traffic and that you're finding people who are like, you know what, I like these guys. Let me follow these guys. Hey, you know what, let me support these guys. Let me buy a t-shirt. Let me buy some merch, right? What is the, and I will introduce and tell a little bit more about exactly what ApolloDez does here for us, or how he's important to the whole grand scheme of things. But right now on the coin shop side, is that the goal? That's my perception of what your goal is, but I haven't necessarily asked you. What is your perception? So let's just say random guy X comes in and subscribes and buys a t-shirt. Is that the hope? Is that the win for you guys? And that he stays a loyal listener and whatnot?
Yeah, I think that's a short-term win, but we got to zoom higher out than that in the way that we view things. And it's community building. And I think we saw it, and we'll get in the weeds of it all here in a bit, but in a post-COVID world, just in the media landscape and with new media coming to the forefront, you have old media just coming back to the pack, I believe. Community is the secret sauce, and that's the driving aspect to everything, because I think really early on when we started the company, we were so like, here's the curtain, we're pulling it all back. You're going to see everything. You're going to see the ups, the downs. You're going to see me up at midnight crying, cussing, yelling. You're going to see me enjoying the wins with the boys, but you're going to have that feel of, oh, I feel like I'm a part of this journey. I feel like I'm almost an employee of this journey, and I'm going to fight and claw for these guys when factions of other fans come after us, because that's when I know, okay, it is working. Yes, the customer acquisition of someone hitting subscribe or leaving a 5-star review or giving feedback of something bad we did or buying a shirt, yes, that's a short-term win. But once they ingrain themselves into the community side, and also it's twofold, the community has to be welcome and open to new customers, and then we have those battles really early on. But once you have that going, you have the whole team going one direction. You almost feel unstoppable at that point.
That's actually really good, and that actually brings up me to the point where I want to introduce you now, right? So I believe it's very important for our hobby to interact and engage on social media. It wasn't something I believed in so much maybe 5 years ago, and then obviously it doesn't take a genius to say, hey, social media is where everybody's at. I get it, I know that, I've known it, but how do we play a part in that? Right. And we took a shot. We said, listen, let's do a podcast. Right. We'll take a shot. We'll do a podcast. Like we try to do social media. We're like a little bit too busy to make it work. But I've gotten to the part to where it's like, okay, well, maybe I think it's big enough to where we should hire professionals to come in and do it for us. Right. And I have this very grandiose attitude where I feel like we can do everything on our own. And we probably could if we just didn't want to have any life. We could probably pull it all off. But a lot of times, I look at these social media pages. I'm not a big Instagram guy. I don't look at it on that much, but I'm a big Twitter guy. I love Twitter. I've been on Twitter since I think I've been there since like 2014 or something. So I'm a big fan of Twitter. Always have been. And I have met a lot of cool people from Twitter, and I watch a lot of programming based off of Twitter, media response, likes, and et cetera like that. And I definitely do it for our community, for Houston, because I want to see who the movers and shakers are in our community. And a lot of times it's hard to see that on Instagram, because Instagram's like flashy, and that's really what we're not trying to do. Right. What we're trying to do is, again, like they said, we're community building. So I've been following Dez since before Apollo started, and you were commenting on basically all Houston sports. And that's really what I started Twitter for, was to stay in touch with local beat writers. And I want to hear the real story. I don't want to hear a Bleacher Report, fabrication, or I'm not set to fabrication, I shouldn't say that, but I mean a Bleacher Report written story based off something they read. I'd rather just read the story myself, okay? And that's when I started really getting heavy into Twitter. And I never really used Twitter. Twitter was my personal social media page. It wasn't anything that I don't promote my business on social media there. I don't promote my business on my personal Twitter. Right. Very rarely will I do that. And one thing I noticed about Josh, and one thing that I liked about their whole deal, was very grassroots. And they started, February 2020?
February 24th, 2020. So 2 weeks before.
So 2 weeks before, the famous, the march where we'll never, and none of us will ever forget this march. These guys go on a new adventure, and my initial reaction when I saw it was like, wow, this is cool. Good for them, right? And I don't even know this guy, right? But again, I'm on the sidelines applauding him and sponsoring those guys because I feel like what they're doing is cool. It's cool in the community. They go out there, they put their stuff out there. They're not worried about what people think. They're not taking votes to see what they should do next. They're doing what they want to do on their terms, in their city, with their people, and they're fucking killing it. And I think it's really cool to watch from a distance because, again, this is like thinking about it from a professional standpoint. I'm looking at him, Josh, when he's a young kid. Now he's slowly growing up in front of our eyes. And when I want to do social media, or I want social media feedback from somebody, I'm going to take his advice over some random person that I could pay that's in California, sitting at a computer, right? I'd rather bring boots in on the ground who are involved in the community, where the community respects and understands that these guys are trying to do something from their bootstraps. And it's a very grassroots campaign, and it's a very genuine campaign. And that's the type of things, those are the type of things that I like. So when it comes to Celebrity Met, we decided to take a more holistic approach in bringing our team together. We hired Ryan Fisher back, right? We hired a few support staff. We hired some people who are helping us out on the background a lot. We brought in Todd. We brought in Apollo. We brought in Scorfield. We brought in a whole deck of people whom have professional titles in their own business. And we're about to launch a really monster product on October 14th, and we're about to hit it out of the ballpark. Yeah. And we did it. We're doing it with people who have proven track records and proven success. And the whole reason why we bring him on here is to show the coin community that this can happen. People want to see genuine. You don't have to have a building on I-10. You don't have to have a fast truck or no one gives a crap about any of that stuff. What they care is that, are you a genuine person? Can they trust you? Right. Can I bring you something and you pay me a good value for it? Do you know how to grade coins? Put yourself out there. People are looking for companies who are genuine. This is the best way to showcase your talents without necessarily having to buy an ad, or you don't have to do that. Yeah, you can be yourself. And if it's, people will follow. And you're going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, I can do that.
So tell us who you are.
Yeah. I'm ApolloDez, known online. We built our community, ApolloHOU, Houston-centric sports, pop culture, life. But this started back in, honestly, in my mind, in February of probably 2016. I was finishing up my last year of college ball. I was burnt, tired. I've only been playing baseball my entire life since 4 years old. And I remember being on the bus rides. I'm wishing, counting the days down of when my season's over and when school's ending. I'm tired. I'm burnt out. I'm batting 400. I should be the happiest I should be in my entire life. And I'm burnt out. And around this time, that's when Barstool was making the jump in the Northeast. They were going from Boston to New York. I'd follow them. Obviously, that name is a voodoo name, or you champion them, whatever it is. They're disruptors, and I think how we've all hit off and come along. I think founders flock to founders, but disruptors flock to disruptors, because you have to have a team to and a group to kind of bounce ideas off of people that are doing it, right?
Yeah.
You guys are owners, GMs, players, accountants, HR, marketing. You're wearing all the hats and juggling, because at the end of the day, it is your baby. And so when I'm sitting on that bus ride, I'm like, why is Houston not doing this? The Astros are starting to pick up the young core. The Rockets were good with James Harden at the time. The Texans were doing things. And around 2017, I started a blog. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start a blog, just follow it. Real kind of lazy, half-butt style of it.
What's a blog for those that might not know?
Yeah, it's just a website where I'm putting my thoughts down, essentially. Okay. It's a journal online where covering the sports and putting my perspective and opinion on it. And
so where do you put that?
Honestly, back then, it was just a WordPress site. It was literally just something I put 5 minutes in, not a lot of time behind it, and just created it.
Cool.
And a lot of the time is just doing it, putting yourself out there. And
of course.
Then I was like, well, I have this really cool, this concept idea of doing what some other groups had done and bring it here to Houston, because I really hate someone else to bring it to Houston and not really understand what makes Houston so great, right? There's 10 downtowns within the loop. You could throw a rock and you have a different scene from where you were just 5 seconds ago. And I think that really makes Houston the best, in the sense of it's so diverse and so unique. It really handcuffs a lot of people. There's a lot of people not like me. I could talk to that wall all day. But there's a lot of people that are like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm overstimulated. I'm just going to go to what I like. And I was like, what can we do to help those people go to new restaurants, go see new sports, whatever we can do to drive that. And finally in 2019, I got a team. I found my co-founder, Josh, and he had this video that should have gone viral. He did the Astros lineup, but it was Family Matters theme. And it was this great edit concept. And I was like, hey, dude, can you teach me how to do this? Because I was already kind of doing it on the side. And he tried to explain to me. I was like, this is Latin. My name's Josh. Your name's Josh. This is my concept idea. You want to come on board and you handle all the backside stuff. He said, sure. Never met in person, just completely online. Just knew he had a big following and stuff like that. So we started gearing up to launch this company where it was going to be all media facet, cover all sports, pop culture, nightlife, all those different things. Bring it all here to Houston. We go live in February.
Yep.
Sports content, sports media. 2 weeks later, the whole world shuts down. Now we're sitting there. We just went all in. I just quit my oil and gas job. What the hell are we gonna do with no sports?
Yeah.
It's these little moments that we can laugh back and look at. But I remember when just the hectic of it all, we didn't know what was going on. We're in our homes, we're not in our homes, and we just launched this company in the spare bedroom of my house. And so we got on Twitch, which everyone watching, I don't know, I didn't know what Twitch was when we first started, and it's essentially people play video games.
Yep.
And or art or whatever it is. And we simulated the Astros season because that's what was going on at the time. And we're like, we'll do this for a couple of weeks. World should be back to normal. Then we'll go back to our plans. Well, 3-4 months later, we're still on the homes. And this channel that we built, which, mind you, it was just the computer playing the computer. I was just emceeing. I'm not even playing the video game. We had 1,000 to 2,000 people a night in our channel watching this computer play and follow each night, and we followed the schedule. So then I was like, all right, let's do themes. Let's do Taco
Remember
Tuesday.
this, please.
Let's do Whiskey Wednesday. Let's do Friday Night Lights Friday. And I'm dressing up, right? Just trying to stay sane throughout this entire ordeal being locked in our homes. And I get a message, and it's Lance McCullers 43. And I see it on the screen. I'm like, that's not Lance McCullers. I'm like texting everyone. I was like,
it's a burner.
I was like, you see this? It's like some troll.
Yeah, it's a burner.
And they're commenting, I love this, blah, blah, blah. Can you give me a shirt? And I was like, yeah, sure, man. Just send me your stuff. And I was like, that's not Lance. And I'm talking to the camera live. He's like, no, it's me. It's like, okay, Lance McCullers, 43 on Twitch. Sure, it's you. And around this time, the scandal had already broke with the Astros, and we created the H-Town versus Everyone shirt slogan. Obviously, other cities have done it before, but we just brought that to life here and really leaned in. And I'm contrarian by nature. When everyone's zigging, I'm going to zag. Could be wrong, but I'm going to check this out before I see what everyone else is doing. And so everyone online is mad. Houston Astros this, trash can this. I go to the meeting. This is before the pandemic. We have a T-shirt sales launch, and I come out 30 minutes later. We had 200 T-shirts sold, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's something there. Let's keep pushing this. Let's dive into it. So we realized that people are mad online, but they're using their checkbook to buy a shirt that says, "I'm not really mad. I'm mad online, but I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna support in this." So we really had this small launch pad moment, and Lance just put jet fuel behind it, where we meet him the day before he goes into the bubble, before the season kicks off. We go to his house. We're bringing him shirts. I called 50, and we were on demand at this time. We weren't even in home with our shirts. I called 50 stores. 49 said no. At 49 thought I was prank calling them, because mind you, we're still locked down. They're like, why would Lance McCullers need this shirt? The 50th store in Tomball says, yeah, when do you need to buy? I was like, 7 a.m. I said, all right. They worked through the night, had all the shirts done. We grab them, go to his house, deliver them. I am smiling and cheesing. I'm like, this is cool, right? This is a cool moment.
They're all triple XLs.
No.
Okay.
Worse.
Oh, no.
He takes them, says, thank you. Doesn't wear them for like 2 weeks. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, we just used every single cent we had in our account.
Yeah.
And we're done. I remember the game exactly. They're playing Oakland in the bubble, and Lance comes out in a tank top saying H-Town versus everyone. And I go,
there it is.
There it is. There's that moment we need. And I think everyone and everywhere has these little launch pad moments where you can always go back and be like, okay, this is what you had to do. But the biggest thing was you have to put yourself out there. You have to bet on yourself. You have to take a chance on yourself, and really also build a team of like-minded individuals and creatives where they're the best at what they do. And I think it was Rockefeller. He was like, I'm not really good at what I'm doing. I'm really good at finding people at the best at their stuff and putting them in that spot for everyone else to win. And so quickly I was like, okay, I'm good on the camera. I don't know the back end. Who can we get on the back end? And that's where Josh stepped up, and I call him the Wozniak. He's back there, knows everything. He's creating, editing, and I'm just the puppet. And he's been able to do that. And then we've been able to find like-minded individuals and grow a team out where I can give them something and hand that off, and I can step back. And it took a lot of me checking the ego out of the door as a founder, as a guy driving it down the field. But once I was able to do that and be like, hey, let's go and you push this out. Because I could be on a piece of content. Y'all could be on a piece of content. But if you're growing a team, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to step back out. We're probably going to get less hits, less metric hits, less engagement rate with this new person. But I need to get the community that we built comfortable with this new face. Because they're so used to seeing the same amount of people, and change is very hard in the content world.
Of course.
And so to start getting people and slowly getting them in, hey, whether it's a 5-minute spot, 2-minute spot, heck, we'll give them a 10-minute spot by themselves and let them start growing into it, and the community accepting the talent we're bringing on. That's where it gets fun, because now you can do creative things where you don't have to oversee or whatever. Because the other side too, in the new age of media, I can do an ad read and integrate it to the community and the people that know me as a personality my way. That may not resonate for some people, but you know what? We're going to cover it with X, Y, and Z with my other, my other personality people, and they may like them. And it's their own little twist on, who they are as a human, and really be able to bridge that gap between community, content, and pushing media for companies like y'all to integrate in the community that we're already built. Because we did the hard part already. We got the followers. We did all the stuff where now it's like, hey, we're going to market with a company and a brand. They're family to us. So I want to integrate that to our community and bridge that gap. And that's where it's fun, because a lot of people and a lot of, I think, old media, they only move in one static direction because they're an I think of them as like a carrier. Right. We're on a jet ski. We're moving in and out. Right?
Bobbing and weaving.
We're going to make sure.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, we're going to find a new way to work. Where other sides they're slowly moving. And so I think that's why this new community reach and this new media age, where everything's popping, is due to the flexibility of these younger companies, but also integrating brands that's just not. It's not one for one anymore.
Yeah.
If you want to build with them, you want to grow with them, you want to see them succeed, because if they're winning, the byproduct is your company's winning. So let's champion them. Let's make sure they win.
And that's exactly, okay, so that's a great point, because that's exactly why I continue to bring in Houston, mom and pops, and I use mom and pop as just like, I'm a standalone guy. This is what I want to do. I'm going to put my money on the line. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to start this company. I'm going to quit my oil and gas job. I'm going to find another disruptor, and we're going to go disrupt shit until we don't. Right? How many employees do you guys have now?
We're up to 8.
Got 8 employees, right?
Employees.
So, and this is obviously 2023. So let's just say 2.5 years, and these guys have gone from 2 to 8, but they're not really selling anything but themselves, right? I'm sure the merch helps, but it can't be your number one earner, is it?
For the longest time it was.
Yeah, but it's not anymore.
It's not anymore.
Well, and that's what I'm getting to. So it helps you get a connection with your customers. So it's no difference if you're selling coins, if you're selling a Silver Eagles or bullion. You have people who are coming to you for that product, but they stay because they like you.
Right.
They stay because they trust you. They spend $20,000 versus $10,000 that they had rat hold because they trust you, and they know deep down that it doesn't take a genius, in my opinion, to realize that you need to own metals. Right. That's not investment advice. I'm sorry. That's just Kenny advice. Like, I'm sorry, just for me, like, I got to own metals. Yeah. I mean, look at the market. Look at, it looks insane out there right now. I mean, I want to have some metals, right? But what is going to get me to really get in there? And that's the trust and following and really kind of nestling myself in there. And we have those customers that we do that with, and they respond well, and we become friends.
Right.
Right. And to me, it's the ultimate to be able to have hundreds of those type of people, because you know what you can sell them. You know what you got to buy them back. You take care of them. You make sure they don't lose money on this. You always know what's going on with them, right? You always know where they're at in their collection, if they're happy, if they're not, if they want to pivot, if they want this. And it's just, it takes that type of understanding. And I believe the best way to get out there today is social media. And again, I'm not revealing anything that no one already knows, but like, I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, Des, is that you just have to do it. And you're going to start off with 0, right? So every follower is better, right? Every person that says, hey, you know what? This guy is doing something that I like, and he sounds like, to me, someone who knows about it more than the other guys, right? Because if you're helping your community, so if you have a coin shop in Kansas and you get on this mission, you're like, you know what, guys, I'm going to get out there. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to talk about my coin shop. I'm going to raise awareness, because what we have metals. Metals are important, right? They're not just important for manufacturing but they're also important. They give people peace of mind. They know that they have something valuable, and they know exactly where it is. It's not paper. It's not stocks. It's not pie in the sky from the bank. It's intrinsic metal that you have in your pocket. And when you can draw that line and go into memorabilia, rare coins, watches, diamonds, all of those things can be bought and held on to if you're doing it right and if you're dealing with the right person. Right. And that's why I feel like it's so important for the smaller coin shops and the younger guys who are out there, and even the older guys, get your butt on there and do it. You don't like the Coin Shop podcast? Get on there and do your own. Like, I'll watch it. You have your first subscriber right here. I want to see it. So if I'm going to do it better, then I need to bring on people that I know and trust who have done it themselves. I don't want to go hire, look online and find some expensive national company that wants to offer me something that it doesn't know anything about me or my identity or what I'm looking to do, right? Go local. Team up with people locally in your area. Find ways to make money together, find ways to support each other, find ways to be friends and communicate, do toy drives, just get together with people, like-minded people, like you said. Founders flock together, sure, but I think good people flock together as 100%. Well. When someone's like, hey, you know what, that guy's not out for him, he's out for everyone, those are people I can get around. Right. I don't want to be around guys that are greedy.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do business with a guy if I have to check the invoice to make sure he didn't sneak a coin on there. Yeah. Which has happened 2 out of the last 3 coin shows, by the way, where we've had multiple invoices with people sneaking a coin. And listen, sometimes I do it. It's an accident. I mean, I get it, but it tells me where we're going as a market, or as where the dealers maybe are going. It just gives me a telltale. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but at minimum, it puts me on guard. Right. Okay. It puts me on guard, and I again, even more so, I want to do business with people I know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to hurt the relationship, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to go back. You're going to be on guard. You're going to check everything out.
So before we hired anybody for Celebrity Mint on the outside, the very first person that I wanted to hire was Dez.
Appreciate that.
Well, you can thank me in a minute. So the reason why is because of what I just said, is that you start a media company of all things during COVID. John Boy, who basically was made famous because of the Astros cheating scandal, has a similar business model, him and Jake, right? It's those two talking baseball, talking this, talking movies, talking whatever they can brand. I don't know if, do you know John Boy?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So he's basically got made Twitter famous by he puts together edits. The one that got him on the map was the Boone edit, where he said, was talking about arguing balls and strikes with the umpire. It's like, my guys are savages. Yeah. That guy's good, but my guys are savages in that box. And it basically, those edits, him being able to go back, pull that from there, do a whole edit video, it went crazy viral. Crazy viral. Wow. I was following John Boy when he had 40,000 followers.
Yeah, I mean,
now it's a lot. I don't look at it lately, but I watched him go from 40 or whatever that lower number was to like 250.
Oh, wow.
Really, really fast. Then people started sending him videos of the trash can or supposed trash can banging noises in Minute Maid, and started getting information from supposed people, right? Which are players 100%, that are using him as a voice box to rat on.
Yeah.
And so this guy goes on this whole rat fest, which for John Boy, I'll say that he's only telling what people are telling. That's his job. Yeah. He basically went from, hey, I'm a guy that talks about the Yankees to, hey, I'm a reporter. When he kept saying, I'm not a reporter, I'm not a reporter. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
As soon as that light turns on, the camera turns on, you're a reporter.
You're getting information and you're putting it out to the public. Yeah. You are a reporter, whether you like it or not. So therefore, when you do that, there's a certain responsibility that goes with it. And that was where I had a problem with him, because he was the first person to put out the fact that Altuve may or may not had a buzzer on whenever he hit the home run, and he was trying to hold on without showing. Yes.
Right. Which everyone has vehemently denied that.
Everybody.
Passan
I've never heard. Passan was the first one. So people look at Jeff Passan or Jeff Passan. They look at him as being, he's the MLB baseball guy. So when you're the ESPN baseball guy, you're a big guy.
Right.
Right? You basically speak for ESPN on matters baseball. And it's amazing to see this culture that's built off something that we've already been doing, but these guys do it different.
Yeah.
I love it. I just think it's the freaking coolest thing, because you get a guy who literally quits his job and says, I'm going to do this for a living. I'm going to meet a dude now. I'm not saying go meet guys off the internet that you don't know and go in business with them. I would never say that. Yeah. But I will say that he obviously had you had to have your governor on there, your gut there telling you, like, is this a good deal? Is this a good thing? Is this a good thing? And listen, you don't let, COVID happened. Oh, well, let me just stay home.
Try to go back and get the job. Yeah.
F that. Yeah. Let's ride. Doesn't matter. COVID, anything. Let's go.
I mean, with anything in life, you bet on yourself. You can always go back to what you were doing beforehand. That life's still going to be there. I like to bet on myself, and look, I can call that oil and gas job tomorrow, and I'm pretty sure they'd hire me, right? Where I could take this opportunity, and really early on, for me, I came from a zero-sum game. I only knew there was a winner and a loser, and when I consumed content or were doing content, I wanted to be, I'm winning, you're losing, and I quickly realized, like, that's not sustainable. Why be a big fish in a small pond? I want to build an ecosystem. I want to build everyone up around me, because that's only going to make me better. Because
how much do you think that media matters in small businesses today?
1,000% huge.
Tell the camera.
1,000% huge. It's game changing in the fact that if you go out there and you start, and trust me, your first 30 videos are going to stink.
Yep.
The 31st may be good. It's probably going to stink, but you got to keep putting yourself there, keep doing it, because then, hey, maybe someone down the road in the town or city next to you, they start doing it. And now it allows you to figure out what your blind spots are. Because if you're just a big fish in a small pond doing content, and you're just, I'm conquer and destroy, you never really know what your blind spots are. But if you're an ecosystem builder, you can see ABZ company doing something like, oh, wow, that's really, really sharp. We didn't even think about that. let's champion them for doing that. But hey, by the way, let's make sure that never happens again.
Yeah.
Or they're doing 2 or 3 things right over there. There's 4 or 5 I don't really like. Let me go on and take those 3 I like, and let me reimagine them in my setting.
Right.
Exactly.
Right?
You're not reinventing the wheel here. You're just
that's how. But that's why founders hang out with founders.
Exactly.
Right? Is because they realize that if you see me going hard left in a direction, you should follow. Right? Because I've done the homework. I'm doing the homework.
Yeah, you're not just making a gut.
Am I
gut
right?
shot.
I don't know if I'm right. I feel like I'm right.
Yeah.
Right? And I've done, like, when I do homework, I do homework for a year. Right? I'm not going to go on an adventure and just, go half, whatever. Like Celebrity Mint was an idea for a long time, but that was a formulation. That was a formulation of ideas and ideas and ideas. And then it's, where do you go from here? Well, we're going to have to at least deploy X. We're going to have to spend X to even see if this thing's feasible. Right? So now it's more than an idea. Now it's an investment. Right? Mm-hmm. And when it comes to an investment of money, there has to be a certain time equated with that investment of money. Right? If you're doing it the right way, in my opinion. So in their sense, they're putting themselves out there every single day. They're not critiquing. I'm sure they're critiquing in-house, but I'm saying I have never looked at any of their videos and seen some hate post. I don't see many. Now, you're going to have your anti-Astros fans who are really bad. Right? I mean, dude, how crazy. Seattle elbow. I mean, Altuve gets hit in the elbow the other night with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and people are cheering.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, there's a guy in the front row. I mean, I love to see who that guy is. I mean, he stood up and clapped like he overdid it. Like, it's one thing if you're like, hey, I don't like Altuve. He may or may not have cheated. I personally don't think he did. But even if he may have cheated 7 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever the number is, why are you happy that he's hurt?
Yeah,
right.
Someone
That's
just hit him with a
weird.
baseball in the elbow.
Crazy.
And especially on the internet today, where it could be some username with a bunch of numbers on the end that's, some burner account, but I diffuse it all. I know what you're going to come at. It's almost like an 8 Mile with Eminem. I just like, all right, yeah, here's the trash can, here's my wire, here's my buzzer, what else do you have? Yeah. And once you diffuse that, now it's just like, okay, now me and you, if you still want to be here, we're going to talk about sports. We're going to do that. I mean, the trolls are always going to be there, especially if you start for the first time, there's going to be trolls. I embraced it. I was really early on, I was like, okay, yes, trash can, yes, buzzer, yes, whatever else is on the news. It's about the Astros.
Yes,
team bad.
2 World Series rings.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm like, now that you're here, my goal is to keep you here. And somehow it worked in the sense of, like, we built little communities. I have a faction of LA fans. I have a faction of New York fans that I communicate with, and I call them friends, which in 2 years ago, I'd be like, why do I have friends that are LA Dodger fans or friends that are Yankee fans when everyone they're one across the country, but 2, they hate Houston sports right now. And it's just being a human at the end of the day.
Right.
Just be a human. And today's day and age with just the hidden comments and stuff, like it's always going to be there. I just diffuse it. I just take it on the channel and be like, look, yeah, there's a trash can right there behind the camera. Like, what else do you want?
What's your best piece of advice for people? They hear this podcast, and I'm speaking to, I know there's a lot of shops out there that could definitely use something fresh, right? I do. I've had some people reach out to me recently. They've asked me, hey, look at my commercial, listen to my radio ad, listen to this. What do you think? What do you think of this? Do you have any opinions or thoughts? And yes, guys, you can always send that stuff to myself or Matt. We have no problem giving you our feedback on that. So my point is that for people who have coin shops in let's just say smaller towns or smaller areas or whatnot, or maybe where they're not as heavily populated, it doesn't mean that they're cut off from this big, vast world out there. If you don't have a website, you don't need a website. You need a phone. And I think mostly everyone has a phone. So I want you to tell them, Des, Mike, our listeners, what are the first couple things they can do to get started now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big things, you don't have to go out and spend a bunch where you're getting the top-of-line mic and camera set. You have your phone, like you said, right?
Yeah.
You have your laptop. Really early on, we just did everything on Zoom. That's all we had.
Yeah.
And learn from our mistakes and other people's mistakes. We try to be the best at everything at the very beginning. We ended up just being masters of none and jack of all trades. And we're sitting there with no traction, no growth, and you're just sitting there wondering, like, what am I doing wrong? And if you're starting out, just go be the best at Facebook. If Facebook's what you know the best, go be the best at Facebook. You create a Facebook page in 10 seconds and you start putting your content all on Facebook. Once you get to a certain point, okay, let's venture to Instagram. Let's venture to Twitter. Let's venture to TikTok, whatever it is. But you have to be the best at that one platform, and it's all going to be up to every single person. I think TikTok's the new deal with so much user growth. There's a lot of eyeballs over there. But once you become the master at that, then you can start going off to the other thing. And now it's just riding a bike. You go to a new platform. It's the same concept.
Take everything with you.
And you take everything with you. And it's also understanding, knowing the community, right? My Facebook community, my Facebook group is going to be different than my Instagram and my Twitter and my TikTok.
Tell them why, though. Why? I mean, it's age group, right?
Age group, okay. Demographics of that. But you, as a content creator, have to know that. You just can't blindly like, okay, they like this over here on Facebook, they're going to like it on Instagram. No. It's a whole new palette. It's a whole new canvas. And that's where it gets fun again. Because then you can get creative. Like, okay, my hits over on Facebook aren't working. I play the hits when I play the hits. Now on Instagram, now I can be kind of cool and do something creative and see what hits and see what doesn't. And if it's the hits, there you go. There's a layup. But you have to be creative. Let
me give you some texture here too. One of my favorite followers, my favorite follows on Instagram is a 80-year-old white hair, old vest, Sansa pants on grandpa, certified grandpa, jamming out guitar solos on electric guitar. It's one of my favorite follows.
You sent it to me.
I sent it to you.
Yeah.
So don't think that, hey, I'm in my 60s. I don't know anything about social media. I'm not getting in all that. Stop it.
Right.
Stop it. Open up your laptop. I know you got a MacBook there. Open it up. Log into Facebook. Introduce yourself. Put some products out there. There are some things that are on the horizon. There's already a company out there that is doing a lot of, that's doing basically live sales. So where this is going, and the reason why I felt like it was very important is that if you're just now getting on social media, you're behind the curveball. I mean, you're behind the 8 ball a little bit, right?
Right.
And it's okay because I feel like it's such a huge playground that you're able to still get in there and be relevant. It's going to take time. There's companies already that are doing live streams. So like you literally, you go down, say I've got 50 ounces of silver, but they're all different. Or I've got, a couple, a handful of, Morgan dollars and a couple, old paper money notes or something. You can literally set up a tripod, get an account, set up a live room, and start selling things out of that room. So you got a virtual coin show basically where you're just putting your products up there, you're giving good descriptions, people are asking, comments, and you're talking to them live. It's a live session. And those companies are already out there doing it and they are getting some traction. But eBay, the king, is coming in and going to do eBay Live. And we've been messing with it a little bit. And we really started to truly understand what it could be. And I believe it could be monstrous.
Yeah.
So even us, we have a podcast. We've got some social media accounts that seem to be doing okay. We've got Celebrity Mint that's coming up, and that's getting a ton of traction. We've got a bunch of huge names. Just signed another huge name that I can't release yet, but I mean huge names, guys. And now you have this eBay Live platform that connects you straight to the customer. Wow. Right? Yeah. So if you think it's going to get better or this social media thing is a phase or maybe, digital content creation in itself is something that's going to go away, I'm here to tell you that it's not. So I wouldn't even go down that path. It's happening. You either need to get with it or prepare to lose a portion of your business to people that are. Because what's going to happen, we've already seen it, is that we have these younger guys coming into the store to buy stock to put products on these sites.
Right.
Whereas I want to open up the spreads, spend more money buying product, and go straight to eBay Live with it. And I'm talking about doing it at a huge number.
Yeah, well, it's a huge platform. So
yeah,
what a great place to get, other customers.
Well, think of the name.
Right.
Got the biggest name in tech. I mean, the biggest name as it comes to any of these collectibles is eBay.
I mean, just as a rookie in that world, that's what I know, right?
Yeah.
That's, eBay.
No doubt.
Right. Plus, you don't have to, everything's done with eBay on their platform. You don't have to handle the transaction. They do everything for you.
No, I get it.
So
I get
great.
it. Well,
I love it.
The pay, they handle all the pay up front.
Right.
Listen, guys, it's a consolidation of business. It makes things easy. Right. But I will give you this. We're going to be in that space too. So just be ready for that. But I will say, come one, come all. And the same thing applies to what I said earlier. There are people who just don't like me. They don't want to do business with me. They don't like me.
Right. It happens.
Okay, sure. Take it easy. No worries. I'm going to take care of the guys that are here, right? And you're more than welcome to come on. But if you don't, you want to do business elsewhere, I love it. Please go do business elsewhere with some of these other guys. Pump some of these other guys up. Give some of these other guys, get them fired up. I love it.
I think that's where where we click so well is that's the ecosystem building, and everyone watching where just go start a Facebook page, Instagram page, whatever it is. Start it now. And look, it took me 3 years to launch our media company when I was just scared, to be honest. I was almost waiting for someone else to do it, and then tell all my friends, hey, remember that idea I had?
I did.
That cool idea? Look, they took it, but I had that cool idea, right? This bar talk, whatever it was. That was just that scariness. But once you take that jump, bro, start it now, because you don't want to look back in a year and be like, oh, I'm behind. Yeah, well, you're behind right now, but let's not wait a year to get behind. And everyone has a unique story. Everyone has I call it a difference maker in your business and in the coin world too. The people watching it, you have a unique product. You have a unique thing where I'm going to ask you guys, and I really want to know, it's kind of like that oh crap moment when someone brought something in so cool, or the story behind it. Go to your shop and look at that and tell it to a camera, because that's a story that as a consumer and as a content swiper, I guess is a little like better words, I would click and watch that because I want to know the stories. And I want to ask you guys, like, what are some times in the store or pieces you guys have gotten? Because that story right there just really gets me engaged to know that, because one, you guys are in it, but two, there's always a story behind the actual product and everything you guys have.
Yeah, and you're right. A lot of times the stories are better than the product. And that's the whole reason why I feel like social media content creation is so important, because I think people are dying for genuine stories, genuine people, genuine interaction. Right. There's so much fake and negative out there. For me, I try to run as far away as I can from anyone talking negative or anybody. I'm out. I don't want to be around them. Sorry, I don't want to do it. For me, what I want is, like you said, I want to follow people and content of things that interest me, things that I don't have at the helm, right? Shipwreck Gold Bar, like he saw in there the other day. He has to stop talking about it. Will you please tell him about the damn Shipwreck Gold Bar? You can't.
Yeah, we purchased a couple of Shipwreck Gold from the SS Central America. One was a Henry Hinch bar, and I mean, they're two big ship bars that were
120 ounces, and the other one's 220
in the ocean. I mean, it
was recovered from a shipwreck,
right? Recovered it. I mean, it's just super cool. I mean, you have always that mystery in the store, and I think with Shipwreck, I mean, it just makes it extra cool. But it's not just the Shipwreck Gold. We buy watches, so we get the opportunity to buy some really rare vintage watches. You actually purchased a really cool Daytona at one point, but
but I think the thing is that we come across cool things often, and what we're good at is being able to pull those cool things out and explain it to people.
Them,
but it's something that if this is someone who's following you and actually listening to the words that are coming out of your mouth, then he's telling you, I want to see more of this.
Right.
And that really brings me to my last point on all of this thing is, how do you know if you're doing right? How do you know if you're not wasting your time? How do you know if like 70% of the people are like, and 30% of the people like it? But what could you maybe do? And where do you get that feedback from? And it comes down, in my opinion, to engagement. Okay. And that's why I think the algorithms, a lot of times, they look at engagement as being the number one indicator of people who actually like this account. And why is this account relevant? Because there's enough information in there to engage about. Right? So when we're doing it, one of the things that we're getting better at doing, it's not a sales pitch. Hey.
Right.
No, what it is more like, hey, I want to show you something cool. Come here. This is a so-and-so and so-and-so, and it's made from blah, 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 blah. It's values for around this and this. And I just thought it was cool. I wanted to show you. Keep following for more.
Right.
And that's it. Right? And to me, it's just such a simple recipe, because people, they don't have a lot of time. Social media is something that, people look at during breaks, during, a conversation in the car, on the way. I mean, people are always looking at it, but remember, they're not 100% focused on it.
Right.
So the engagement is where you can tell that there was a footprint. Yeah. Okay? That there was someone who was a little bit more than just interested or piqued interest. Okay? So that's why the social media, all the content creation is so important, because it needs to be set up for engagement. And I think a lot of times, even us internally, we forget that. And the stuff that we put out isn't actually something you can engage with. You might like it, but likes aren't really engagement, or not the engagement I'm looking for. I'm looking for sends, saves, comments.
Right.
You want to put something out every day that's send worthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, like the shipwreck.
Yeah.
Like the shipwreck, but again, I like the way you do it, because we're not selling it.
Right.
They're not for sale. Like, we don't want to sell them. They're cool.
You have
We
to
want
have
to keep them.
type of hype to, for people want to listen to you. You
But
can't be
remember-
boring and quiet. You have to be.
Yeah, but I
Right.
also think, there's
a good
obviously
mix.
something.
Yeah, there's
but
a good
remember,
mix.
the product is the king, right?
The product is the king, yeah.
It doesn't matter how vibrant you are. If you don't have
Yeah.
anything to show, then it doesn't,
Right.
hey, wasting your time, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think the secret sauce is also like, what am I going to send to my friends in the group message?
Yeah.
Right? Everyone out here has an iPhone or a Hive,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Chat
So
room, chat mix.
you're sending something to your friends that you saw something really cool, like the air guitar player, right?
Sure.
So what is everyone else's air guitar? That's at the end of the day, because when you create content, you're doing content. I want to make sure whatever we put out, I want that being sent out to, my friends if I were to watch something or whatever it is. The other side too is you have to have a team of people that you trust, because I think Mac Brown said it best. There was a time in 2005 when they were about to win the national championship. He said his whole team was going to be on the IR version with a sore back, because everyone was patting him on the back and telling him how good they are.
Right.
When you're hearing that, you think everything's going great.
Yeah.
But I have a group of friends that I played college ball with them, and they're my best friends for life. They probably consume 10% of my content, maybe on a good day.
Same with us.
But that feedback I'm getting from them, I know is truly organic.
Solid.
It's going to be something I take to the team, be like, hey, XYZ, we need to fix.
Sure.
Because when everyone's patting you on the back, saying you're doing a great job,
Right.
that's great. But what is that making anyone better? So you have to have that team, whether it's family, your group of friends, whoever it is, or other founders, to have that little callback and pushback, because feedback is huge in everything, not just social media and everything in content world, but in life. You get that feedback. That's how you start winning.
Yeah,
more and more.
it's a good feeling too. So I mean,
What about celebrity men?
It's game changing. It's just disrupting. There's a reason why we're partnering with you guys and spreading that news, because it's something I want to take to our community that we built and be like, hey, look, they're part of our family. They're changing the dang game.
Yeah,
it's disrupting. I can't wait to see it go live, because we can talk about it more then. But it's something I've never seen before, and I think it's truly gonna be ground shaking. You're gonna get some haters. Take them, bring them on. You're gonna get people that love it too. And as long as you're in the conversation and making the conversation, that's when you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. We love having you here, having you a part of it. I think, again, like we've said before, looking back in 2020 when you started this thing, would you think that maybe another local business who you don't even know me, calls you out of the blue and says, hey, I need your opinion. I want you in on this deal. And is that something, take me through that. Because for me, it's the payoff. Like, the payoff is, sure, like Celebrity Men it's gonna release, it's gonna sell some products. I think it's gonna be fine. I'm not necessarily overly excited or overly worried about it, but to me, it's like, what's next, and what did we do good here that we can replicate in the future? And again, it's gonna be assembling a team, right? How do you assemble that team? That team for me was something that was a long process, right?
right.
And I weighed a lot of decisions based off of what those guys did, what Scorfield and those guys did, what Olivia, Kara, Todd's work, amazing. Right. So that's 3 out of 6 people that were hired because I followed them on Twitter. So if you don't think that social media presence matters, maybe the biggest undertaking of my life, Celebrity Mint, I would say the biggest idea that I've had plenty of those ideas before. And when you said that, it really made me think, you don't know how many times I've said, man, remember that idea I told you about? Someone else did it. You remember that one thing I told you about? This guy did it. I mean,
yeah,
we recreated social media 20 years ago. We just were too stupid to put it out there, to take a chance, right?
Yeah.
And how silly. But deep down, how grateful are we for this opportunity? Because now we're game busters.
Right.
Now we're ready to roll. And it was important. The only way it's going to roll is if you have a team.
100%.
Yep. It's the only way it works. And I'm going to team up with a guy who's literally done it right in front of my eyes, from a regular handle to a branded handle to a company branded handle to 8 employees. Yeah, I'm going to attach my wagon there. I'm going to definitely take these guys' input. I'm going to take this guy's input. Scurfield.
Look great.
Dude, I mean, Scurfield's killing it out there.
Yeah.
Scurfield's,
He's everywhere.
Scurfield's killing it out there. Good for him. Again, another thing, a good team, right?
Yeah.
A good team. So let's take these good teams that have proven success and let's add them to our team. I mean, should we be successful? Let's
100%
ride,
we are.
let's
100%
go.
We're going to be.
So I know it's a little bit of curveball, you guys. I appreciate you hanging out in here on the Coin Shop podcast for this episode. To me, believe it or not, I feel like this episode could be one of our best episodes, best in terms of information, because I believe the information that Josh, aka Dez, just shared is important to everybody. You can start your brand, building your brand, or building on top of your brand today. It's not something that you have to wait for. It's not something that you have to wait to get in the mail. You don't need to be a member of a club. You need to be yourself. You need to be yourself. You need to be honest. You need to be straightforward. And you need to crush it. So thank you guys for tuning in. Coin Shop Podcast. Our boy ApolloDez in the house, telling you guys the truth. Social media content creation is so important and vital today's small business. We hope that we take advantage of it. If you've got any questions, guys, reach out. Kenny at Kenny at uscoinsandjewelry.com, Matt at uscoinsandjewelry.com, ApolloDez at ApolloDez.
Yeah, reach out.
Whatever that is.
I'm a big feedback guy. I'll give some feedback.
But thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Y'all take care.
Peace.
All right. That was awesome. It was long.